friends, this is Alex. Welcome to Socialism Survival Podcast number 47. This week's subject is Infectious Insanity of Socialism. While we, decent, normal people, are behaving right and treating others as we would like to be treated, the followers of socialism are thinking, talking, and acting like insane. We all must understand that insane people should be treated differently than normal people. You want to know why and how? Or maybe first you want to know how to identify socialism insanity virus and how to become immune to its threats. Keep listening and I will share with you more in detail after a short segment of virtual housekeeping and community organizing. Please go to socialismsurvival.com website and subscribe to email notifications of my future podcasts. If you want to contact me, please write to podcast@socialismsurvival.com. Please consider supporting Socialism Survival Podcast by linking to socialismsurvival.com from your own website and by spreading the word and introducing others to this podcast. Today I am talking about infectious insanity of socialism. I can't keep silent when I see how socialistic insanity is spreading like swine flu pandemic throughout America and around the world. Those socialists, they think insane, they speak insane, they act insane, and their spending is insane. In their insanity, they trash America like there is no future. Or maybe they don't want us to have a future. Although it's hard to analyze socialism insanity with the sane logic of our sound minds, we will try to do the best we can. According to the Wikipedia, insanity means a spectrum of behaviors characterized by certain abnormal mental or behavioral patterns. Insanity may manifest as violations of societal norms, including becoming a danger to themselves and others. It is also synonymous with craziness or madness. It looks to me like not only the majority of politicians, but a large portion of American population and definitely almost all media got infected with insanity, which especially was so obvious before and during the elections in 2008. Listen to this. You probably heard it 2 years ago, but I would like to remind it for our analysis purpose.
Over the last 15 months, we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. Alaska and Hawaii I was not allowed to go to, even though I really wanted to visit, but my staff would not justify it.
Did you hear that? Then Illinois senator and presidential candidate, he said he visited 57 states, plus one more to go, plus Alaska and Hawaii, where he wasn't allowed to go. Total 60 states. I think that he got elected because the residents of socialist states, 51 through 60, vastly outnumber residents of other 50 states. You know what? Let's send him to rule over his 10 insane states and leave other 50 US states free from his presence.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go.
Or maybe he needs to go to that one and stay there. Anyway, this alone was enough for me to see what kind of candidate he is. Yes, we could play for hours and hours the sound bites of stupidity and insanity that his doped head produced, but even one that you just heard is enough to make a sane decision. Americans, you've heard what his reverend right from the left said about America. You knew about his friendship with Bill Ayers and Marxist professors. Going back to Wikipedia definition of insanity, I make a conclusion from everything I hear and see that this man shows abnormal mental and behavioral patterns. He violates societal norms and he is pretty dangerous for this country. As much as he sounds so funny, I repeat, he is a very dangerous for this country. Listen to the next soundbite and think if with this kind of speeches he was able to pass his socialistic healthcare, how much more harmful he can be for America.
Everybody knows that it makes no sense that you send a kid to the emergency room for a treatable illness like asthma. They end up taking up a hospital bed. It costs you gave them treatment early, and they got some treatment and a breathalyzer or an inhalator, not a breathalyzer. I haven't had much sleep in the last 48 hours, so. What they'll say is, well, it costs too much money. But you know what? It would cost about the same as what we would spend over the course of 10 years. It would cost what it would cost us. All right. Okay. We're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost for about, hold on one second, I can't hear myself. But I'm glad you're fired up, though. I'm glad.
He said he didn't have enough sleep. Well, let me tell you, people with sleep deprivation are much more susceptible to insanity. In Soviet gulags, many people signed accusations against themselves simply after being kept awake for many days. After that kind of torture, people lost their minds. They became crazy or insane. I think this man that you just heard had a serious problem with sleep deprivation. Through all his life, wasting his time by listening to his Marxist professors and friends. And now he wants us to listen to him, his insane speeches, instead of sleeping, so we too could lose our minds to socialist ideology. The same as our body's immunity is low when we lack a good night's sleep, and we are easily attacked by viruses. So, our minds also can be infected with socialism insanity during sleep deprivation periods. Therefore, here is my first infection preventive advice to you. Have enough hours of sleep every day. Don't take any complicated or suspicious information when you are tired and wasn't sleeping for a long time. Also, if you didn't listen to my podcasts before, you need to listen to number 3 about propaganda and number 6 about psychopolitics. Then you will understand better what I'm talking about here today. We have limits in our mortal bodies. We need to understand that. Socialists want to exploit us beyond our limits, and they may try to convince you that you have some hidden, unused resources that are designed to be used for the good of humanity, which literally means their new world order. Listen now to another pearl of their insanity.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Let me help you. Here is where my interpretive skills can be useful again. I can interpret it easily. Here is what she said. If you really want to know how smart you are, how intelligent you are, how brilliant you are, we need to brainwash you first. You've got that? Okay, let's move on. People that you've just heard speaking, president, congressman or congresswoman, they are elected by us as our servants to represent our will, to reflect how smart, intelligent, and wise we are when they speak from their pulpits. Speaking about healthcare, please tell me how these servants can have better healthcare than they want to impose on us. Can you see what happens when those carriers of insanity virus are in a majority in government? It's time that they start listening to us and become willing to pass through disinfection. Think of what would be done during the worst possible pandemic. Those who got infected would be isolated. You would keep yourself and your children away from any infected places or people. At that times, even if your relatives would ask to stay with you, you would quarantine them first before allowing them into your house. Did you want to know how and why we need to treat those bearers of socialism insanity in a very specific way? Insane socialists are very dangerous and should be isolated. They may fit well in the camps and mental institutions that they prepared for us. Quarantine them. It's a critical time. Socialism pandemic is on the march to destroy this great country, to murder the majority of you. It's time to stay alert. It's time to act. Those insane socialists, they probably won't listen to you because infection transformed them into zombies. As a good sign of that, you will see when they care more for world order than for American order. Remember, they are only who they are elected to be. Either President of America or Congressman of America or Senator of America, not of the world, nor of American Union, only America, America, America. American order, Period. Those who put their noses into foreign affairs must be removed and isolated. All those members of international clubs, like Roman Club, lodges or groups, must be removed from any position of power and influence. Those of them who committed any kind of crimes, whether financial or ethical, must be sentenced to labor camps. Those monsters that destroyed American economy, that made millions of Americans jobless, they need to learn a lesson what real job is. So no more prison cells with TVs and entertainment for them. They need to pay the same price for their sins as anyone else. Those thieves must know the time is coming when they will be sued for their crimes. We know their names and we know what they did. When they are sworn into the office, they put their hands on the Bible. Therefore, biblical laws should be applied to them. Just because they always smile, they drive nice cars, live in the beautiful homes, and wear nice and very expensive suits, it doesn't make them less dangerous than homeless insane who wear stinky rags and live somewhere in the forest or under the bridge. The law and punishment must be equal for everyone. If anyone wants to be forgiven, let him pray to God for that. American citizens should organize more than just tea parties. Special groups must be organized for economical, judicial, and moral restoration of America. The area of education needs our special attention. The institution of marriage and family needs better constitutional protection, guaranteed. Many great civilizations disappeared because of sexual immorality. Therefore, in order to protect America from such the ends, it must be treated as criminal offense. Maybe it sounds too radical for someone, but our response to rules for radicals followers must be radical too. Without it, we will lose. Remember my word. Without radical conservative approach to action, America will be lost. I am not saying that resurrection and restoration after that will be impossible, but that our generation may never see it. For Soviet Union, it took 74 years to break socialism yoke, and it is impossible to predict how long it will take here in America. Thank you for listening to this message. God bless you and our sweet home, America. You've been listening to Socialism Survival Podcast. Until next week, as always, the voice of common sense, your Socialism Survival host, Alex.